So first off, can we ask which university did you go to?
NUS.
Right now, I'm a student with NUS, National University of Singapore.
National University of Singapore.
And how difficult would you say it is for students to get into this university?
I think it's quite difficult. You have to be in the top percentile of A-level scorers to get into this university school.
I think it can be quite difficult. I understand, especially for international students, NUS is very hard to get into.
Yeah, I'm from China, so when I was back in China, I studied very hard to get a high GPA and also for my IELTS exam and my personal statement to get access to NUS. Yeah.
I think it really depends. Like for me, I got in mainly, I would think because I had working experience and also lots of like portfolio. Like I took on leadership roles in my polytechnic. Yeah.
I guess it depends on like what you major in. You know, different majors will have different like requirements to get into like your preferred major. For me, I graduated from computer science, so that is one of like the tougher majors to get into now. So I would say that requires you to do like pretty well for like your GCE A levels, which I kind of like barely made the mark. So I would say it's tough to get into it. You really need to do a lot of conscious like studying and following the traditional JC rote learning method of like dealing with examinations to get into like the university. So yeah, it's takes some effort, I would say.
And why did you want to get into this particular university?
Because it's the top 10 university in the whole planet.
I mean, NUS like the best school in the Singapore. So if you want to choose a school in Asia, so I think it's one of the top choice.
I think NUS is very like famous, the number one university in Asia, and I think that my major is arts and entrepreneurship. It is very new, and other universities in Asia don't have this major.
Did your parents and friends say anything after you got accepted?
Of course, I think I was very excited, and I even cried. Yeah, I was too excited. And of course, my parents and friends, they were very happy for me. Yeah,
I was happy. Like I was very grateful because like I essentially spent like for me, I feel like I'm a pretty special case. I spent like most of my JC life not studying. I only spent the last year studying for it. So it was like a mad rush for me to catch up, and I almost didn't make it. Like it was like by the skin of my teeth. So when I heard that I got into my preferred major, it was like a huge sigh of relief. I was very relieved that I got in. Yeah.
Now that you're an NUS student, how optimistic do you feel about your future career path after graduating on a scale of 1 to 10?
Honestly, not very, very optimistic still, because I think like nowadays, even if you have a degree from NUS, it doesn't mean that you are very employable also. So I think we still need to work hard to like gain some experiences and all that.
So what do you want to do after graduating?
I'm not very sure, but probably something related to my course. I'm studying English language and linguistics.
On a scale of 1 to 10, right now it happens to be 10 because I'm in the fortunate position that before graduation we have to secure training contracts, which are in effect post-graduation employment. So our job is secured even before we graduate, and it's relatively easy for law students. I'm not saying it's easy. It's relatively easy for law students compared to students from other faculties. I had friends who graduated this year from business, econs, and a lot of them were really struggling to find jobs even after they graduated. So I am very lucky in that in this course, the trend seems to be that before you graduate, you have a job.
Can I just be... Yeah, maybe I will be telling the brutal truth. Especially as an international student, maybe it is not very easy for me to get a job in Singapore because of the EP sponsor and those kind of things. And also my major is not like computer science and finance and like business, but I'm still very like optimistic because I think I believe in my strength and my efforts. So yeah, I think 7 out of 10.
And what would be considered to be a dream job for NUS students in general?
I mean, like first of all, I think for all people in the world, it should be high salary. Sometimes I think job is an opportunity for you to buy your time and your free through a certain amount of work. So I think like a job that enable you to have a life with like your free time is very important.
I guess for the general NUS student, I think a corporate 9 to 5, 9 to 6, or we don't have 9 to 5, 9 to 6, in an office where they get to do the work they enjoy related to their major. I think that tends to be what NUS students seek to achieve. Perhaps for a large part of NUS courses, you have computer science, finance, econs, and honestly a lot of the humanities and other STEM fields. They have some of them, the high achieving types. They really want to get into high finance, right? Or maybe hedge funds or investment banks. Perhaps that would be the dream job. I don't know how much of a dream that is. Sure, the pay is wonderful, but the working hours are definitely not the best. For law students, perhaps the dream job would be a job in one of the international law firms, where the pay is good and the work-life balance is a lot more balanced compared to local firms. That will probably be the ideal dream job for law students.
But do you feel that with NUS on your resume, is it even easier for you to get a dream job?
I think it's slightly easier, but I wouldn't say that it's a goal pass lah. Yeah, it's only like a slight privilege. I think that you still need to have soft skills. So I think a lot of times when we try to procure jobs, it's really how you present yourself, and also sometimes it's also connections. So it doesn't mean that you have an NUS degree that means you will have a high chance of being employed. It's just like maybe looks a little bit better on your resume, but overall you still need to like balance your grades as well as your experiences lah.
I would say yes. I feel like the people who like were my seniors before me, they were the one who really built up the reputation. So in my field, for example, for software engineering, my seniors who have like been in this field for like the past 20 years, they've already like built a really good reputation. Like employers know that, if this guy is from NUS, there's a very good chance that he knows what he's doing. He has like a good foundation in his technical skills. So being in NUS, I would say in my field specifically, actually like already puts you like a step ahead. In fact, I have heard that there are like top tech companies who literally as like their first line of filtering, they see which schools you are from. Like, for example, if you are like from NUS and then you get past the first round because like this school is known to have like higher chances of having good candidates. And if you are like from like a less known university in Singapore that also has computer science programs but are not as established, they don't look at their resumes and they just put them on the side. Yeah.
Do you think it's becoming so hard for students in general to get decent jobs upon graduating now?
Yes, I think it's not only NUS, but NTU, SIM, any school, government school. It's very hard to get jobs nowadays. It's very difficult, very extremely difficult.
What do you think are the biggest challenges when it comes to landing a job after graduating?
I think main thing is the interview process, because most of the time, for some reason, I always get rejected at the first interview.
I think the biggest challenge is really finding a job that matches your expectations. I think right now a lot of us are quite stressed about like the pay that we can get when we graduate, because I mean we can get jobs, but it's whether or not we want to accept these jobs lah. So it's very difficult to balance like what you want and to also survive in this competitive world lah. Yeah.
I think a lot of my friends suffered from the economy, the state of the economy that exists when you graduate. If you graduate into a terrible economy, especially in recent years with COVID and etc., jobs can be harder to find. Other things, of course, sometimes a difficult thing is that students tend to really only start putting thought into their career aspirations a bit too late into university, at which point a lot of your GPA and your internship experience is kind of locked in. Maybe, after year 2 or something, then some students may be like, oh no, I'm going to graduate soon and I need to find a job. And then some amount of panic sets in. So at that point, some measures can be taken, but it's a bit difficult to make up for the lost time by taking on more internships and pulling one's GPA up. It can be a bit more difficult, such that by the time you graduate, you are not in the ideal position to get exactly the kind of job that you want. But thankfully, I believe that, I would like to believe in the naivety that I still possess, that when one graduates, if one can still take up a job that's not your dream job, and slowly through hard work in the workplace and, networking, communicating with friends, that hopefully you can slowly pivot and work towards what is indeed your dream job eventually. And the end is not the end of the world just because you graduate and you can't secure your dream job immediately.
I basically applied to the most prestigious companies I can think of, and I assume that's what a lot of people do, right? Like, it's just the first companies you can think of. You know them, you vaguely know that their product is kind of okay. They pay well, and you can get your career whatever down the line. But the thing that happens then is people generally get rejected from everywhere because they don't know what the hell they're doing. And what I started doing a little bit was I started applying to more and more places. It makes sense, right? Because, if you just apply to more places, then your odds go up. But I think what worked for me was doing the exact opposite, which is I would take about several days to work on one application. I would, again, make the demo. Like, basically, on their website, I would find what annoys me the most. And I would tell them, or even send them this is how you fix it. This is how you fix it. I'm gonna go and fix it for you right now. And especially for startups, that just works super well. I think my first role that I ever got, there were 1,000 applicants. I didn't apply, and I still got it because he said that most of the applicants, they don't. I think I was the only applicant who did something before I applied.
How are you supposed to get work experience like internships if that's becoming a little too competitive now? And how are you supposed to stand out?
For me, when I couldn't get any internships, I started off volunteering for organizations or starting own initiatives within the school. I think that helps as a stepping stone towards internships and bigger things. Yeah. So,
what are the most essential skills you wish you were being taught now, while you're still a student, to better prepare for the uncertainties in the future?
I think communication skills, that's important. I think it's about advocating for yourself. And I don't think we do that enough in schools.
Actually, in Singapore, people tend to actually get more internship opportunities, and then after which they will have some sort of resume, and then they can get a job from there. So for my case, as I did not study and I'm in the bottom 20 percentile, I do not have many opportunities.
And can I ask, why did you not study that hard when you get into NUS? And why are you at the bottom 20%?
Because I believe that I at that time when I was 19, I believed that I was really smart. But turns out, now I realized that wasn't the case.
So right now, as you think about it, what are the most essential skills you wish you would have back then?
I think definitely people skills, because I think my whole cohort did not like me.
But you're a bartender, so does that help to, foster your people skill?
Well, they're drunk.
The skill that I would want to have is maybe how to maneuver in the workforce, because I think there are some things that you will only really know how to maneuver when you enter the workforce. So I think that that's something that school cannot teach you. So you really need to gain the experience, and that's why I think internship experience, work experience are very important.
I think that a lot of uni graduates are quite undereducated about personal finance. What one does is how one should budget, save money, where one can invest one's money. I think a lot of the success of these insurance investment plans is precisely because a lot of people, they don't know how actually in actuality how easy it is to invest properly and generate a decent amount of returns. Another thing would be, maybe I'm also biased again, but sales, sales experience, or just general communications, more generally. In NTU Business School, we actually had a class, how to properly send emails or how to speak in a meeting. This sort of thing, we did not have in NUS. I think this sort of program is very good. How to persuade someone of your idea, how to properly deal conflict resolution in the workplace. These are very, I'm sure, useful soft skills that one could very easily lose out on when one is busy just studying and grinding for internships and academics. So I think these are two important skills that will be very important to learn when before one graduates.
So in a world where there seems to be excessive competition for a limited number of high-paying jobs, how willing are you to pursue something more independent, like starting your own business?
I think for the current status, I'm not going to build my own business because I'm working in commodity trading and it requires a lot of money to build your own business, or you find someone to invest in you. So I think it still take quite a few years. So I think I can get the experience, the relationship, and the money to build my own business.
Actually, I have my own business right now. As you can see, I'm dressed a bit funny. That's because I'm in a band called the CB Dogs. This is my band. You should check it out on Instagram and any social media platform and Spotify as well.
Do you think not being able to land a job after graduating is the primary reason for you to start your own business?
Yes, I think it's a primary reason because it was very sad when I did not get a job. My parents were very proud of me when I went to NUS, and then after they realized I did not get a job, they are very sad. Huh? February 15th. Oh yeah. February 15, CB Dogs is live. CB Dogs is live at Phil Studio, February 15.
Broader market conditions like a weak economy and AI automation could have a huge impact on students. How aware are you of these factors, and what are you going to adapt to them?
Yes, I'm very aware that humans can very quickly be replaced by AI, to a certain extent. So I think it's really, there's not much we can do about it except improve ourselves. So it's really the things that we can do but robots can't. For example, for me, I think up till now, robots still aren't able to write as with a human touch like a human can. So I think for this point, I think that I don't think my job will be entirely replaced, although it's threatened lah. It's threatened.
In the end, how helpful or useful do you think going to university is in 2024 for your future career path?
I have learned a lot in university, but at the same time, I don't think it's 100% necessary. I think a lot of us go through the motion just to be considered by employers that we have a degree. Yeah. So honestly, I feel that it's also okay to go out to work without a degree. Yeah. But I just chose to take a degree just in case, so that because I know that a lot of employers would not even consider you just because you don't have a degree. Yeah. So that's why I think that some might want to choose a degree or have a degree.
You should never listen to someone who has very confident predictions about AI, because I've generally found that if you're the kind of person who can make confident and correct predictions, you would have already made a lot of money because you would have built the thing. It's kind of like if you know what the problem's going to be in 50 years, you're just going to work on the problem for 50 years. You have $1 billion trillion, right? Right? So even among the researchers in the field, you will find that the ones that know the most about it are constantly surprised. Yeah, I know a lot of people from the top 3, top 5, whatever labs are always surprised by new things that are coming out. So generally, I would say don't listen to anyone's advice on this if they're very confident. But more useful advice is either try to find work as close to AI as possible or as far away as possible. Because if you go kind of in between, then that's kind of the valley of death. That's bad. But yeah, I personally prefer closer to AI because I think people generally suck at predicting what jobs are actually far away from AI. Because I think pretty much everyone has been wrong predicting something about which jobs are going to be impacted. So closer is a nicer bet. That's just my recommendation. But if you somehow guess correctly that your field will never be impacted by AI, go for it.
Online and the advent of AI, there's a lot of self-learning that can be done. And honestly, and I'm sure many working adults will attest to this, that a lot of the knowledge that you put to use when you're working, none of it or very little of it comes from your university education. A lot of what you learn in university ends up being redundant or too theoretical for use in day-to-day workplace. And so I think a lot can be done on one's own through the resources that are available in terms of books, online courses, having AI teach you some complex concept. A lot can be done using these tools, such that it may well be the case that in the future or even in the near future, the value of a university education can go down, unfortunately or fortunately. Well, unfortunately for universities and fortunately for the young generation. I do believe that we really should reevaluate the continued role of a university degree. But of course, I say that as a privileged student who already has, the very typical university education of 4 years and going out into an office job. I must caveat that. Yeah. Generally, the way that we Singapore students at least are brought up, the general idea is, study hard, have good options to go to a good university, and from there graduate and find a nice, safe job that will pay you out, and you can enjoy the stability in that way. So I think just generally the way that we are brought up is, I wouldn't say anathema, but against the risk-taking that comes with joining a startup or one's own business. But that said, I think a lot more people are more keen on this idea of financial independence, retiring early, and being one's own boss. Yeah, so being your own boss, working for yourself, starting a business, I think a lot of people are more keen on doing so. And on top of that, at the same time, there are a lot of resources available now. Many more books have been published about how to start your own business. There are a lot more YouTube channels, Instagram Reels, TikTok influencers. A lot of people are very vocal as to how one can start your own business. And so this gives a lot of access to information, for upcoming graduates, information that I think the previous generation would not have access to. And this sort of information and the ambition, coupled with the ambition / attitude of the younger generation, this would definitely provide a more fertile environment for students pursuing startups and their own businesses outside of the usual track of finding an office job.
I would say, university is also not just about the university lectures, the courses, the tutorials. Some professors don't even bother putting effort to teach. That's very normal. But what also matters a lot is the environment around you. When you meet a network of like-minded people who are also very passionate about learning things and each are very good in certain things and are also willing to share, you kind of build out that network, and that kind of helps you to do more things in the future. So yeah, kind of learning how to learn and building up that network, I think that is so important. And even in NUS in particular, there are so many programs to support students who want to do more experiential learning or want to eventually start their own venture. They have so many avenues of support, and I think that whole environment creates that and helps to facilitate that for people. Yeah.